Okay, la la la, test test test, la la la. Welcome to Click for Spoiler episode 3, which is chapters 4, 5, and 6 of Blurred Weaponry, Saints of the Void, Book 1. Sang Song Voice. Okay, so let's start quickly here. Chapter 4, called Effective Saviors. I don't know when I came up with that title, but that's okay. That fits, I guess. This is a chapter that I added in later on when I was going through my sort of say, don't tell kind of phase where I was trying to clean up a lot of stuff that I explained over the course of a paragraph or badly wrote and just kind of, just make a chapter with it. And there are two problems in the book that I saw that involved Captain Hayes, where I said, oh, he did this and this and this, but I literally never talked about it, never explained it in detail, because I had these scenes very detailed in my head, or like I thought they were very detailed in my head. Writing them out was pretty interesting to me because I could see, oh, this isn't quite perfect, and it's actually a little bit of a plot hole. So now that I'm writing it out, I can fix it. Chapter 4 is as much about fixing the old chapter that we rescue the character Trina Guile in as it is fixing minor plot holes. Going through that chapter, I kept having to add and take away and add and take away, and I just got sick of it, so I got rid of it, rewrote the whole shebang, and fixed many problems at the same time. Here, we see Captain Hayes teaming up with Saint Dosto. And this was something I liked a lot because Captain Hayes is very much a senior leader of the school that Dosto has come up with. He's very respected, very smart, talented, experienced. Seeing him in combat with Dosto, alongside Dosto, I mean to say, was watching someone who basically has this special ability, Dosto, and someone who has a combination of that special ability, but also a lot of just straight up raw skill in Hayes. And it's a neat action scene to introduce the differences in the characters, where I already introduced kind of how Dosto does his work. This was a cool way of seeing how different people on the same side can get things done. On to chapter 5, Meeting Trina. Again, this was a fix for the old version of Meeting Trina. It was so condensed that it ended up being boring because I had to go through so much information so quickly. Not only the part where they found her, got to her, which is covered in the new chapter 4 that I previously just talked about, but also the conversation about who she is and what she's doing out here. There's not a lot explained on that because she has her secrets. She's very private in certain ways. There's some stuff in here that I kept almost word for word, phrase by phrase, essentially, including the fact that when Trina first sees Dosto, she immediately gets on her knees and begins a prayer. That is a cheap way, I guess. Really just kind of a lazy way to show her religious affiliation. But this chapter is not just about Trina. It was a way to have a lot of conversation that revealed a lot of character traits. I mean, the chapter doesn't even start out with, getting to Trina or whatever. It starts off with a conversation between all the known characters so far, and then it moves on. It introduces a lot of the personal dynamics of the group of people that we're going to have for the rest of this book. It was actually one of the easiest conversations to write for me because it was something I wrote after I wrote the whole book and I needed to fix up some stuff, just do some punch up basically. It ended up being I knew these characters quite well and the conversations here flowed very quickly. This is probably one of the faster chapters I had to write, and I did everything I could to go back to make it perfect because I just really like the conversations in this chapter quite a bit. It's meant as a slowdown point in the action that I'm constantly throwing in here, because I'm an amateur writer, and if I don't have action, I don't know what to do. And up now is chapter 6, Going Underground. Here, to start the chapter, we actually have some conversations, one between Dosto and Hayes, one with Ranker. Those are both to do some world building, some things that I kind of ignored quite a bit the first time around. That is mainly because I know so much about this world. I know the beginning, middle, and ends of this world and these stories and things like that. Or at least in a very general sense, not in the detailed sense, or I'd be done with book 2 by now. Ha ha ha. That's probably a reminder for me to get back to work on it. In any case, there's a lot of world building that's in my head that is not in the books. And I have to get better at putting them in the friggin' books, otherwise it's really confusing. I fixed that up a little bit here with these introductory conversations, these couple of conversations, and then go right back into it. Trenna Guile leads Dosto and Ness underground to where her homeless people live. These homeless people that are suspected to be the ones involved in this tragedy, according to Trenna's statements as a witness. We see that Dosto loves this place, loves anything involving freedom, which is a corny way of putting it, but that's kind of what it is. This world is under a very tight leash. Anything that breaks away from that is something that most Saints are actually big fans of. They love it. And we see that with Dosto down here, who has a lot of joy in his heart about this hovel, these people living underground, using a deprecated subway that will never be used again as where they live, putting up curtains as walls, having personal effects, things like that. He is very supportive of this, to put it simply. The conversations in this chapter are shorter. They're still personable. There's still some humor to be had here and there. That's kind of just how I write. But also, this is a very world-building chapter. This is very heavy in the exploration of why this, why that, when this, when that. I try to keep it a little bit tight in this chapter, as best I could as a garbage writer. Did a lot of exploration as to what things look like when they just don't work. Basically, when they no longer are needed. I finally capped this chapter off with the words, "Tsunami of automatic gunfire." Links to download Blurred Weaponry, Saints of the Void Book 1, and Northwater, Saints of the Void Book 1.5 are in the description below. Thank you so much again for listening, and peace out.